Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wandering Podcast, where we take advisement from outside the box. I'm BreAnna Ritter, your host. I'm an intuitive, sexuality, and authentic expression coach. Are you an accomplished professional who plays the part of having it all figured out? Who's strong for everyone else, but feels lonely, misunderstood, like you can't tell anybody the truth about how stressed you are, how not passionate you are about your life and all that you've created? I guide my clients to deep, lasting fulfillment. I re-engage them with their bodies, their pleasure, their desire. I help them align to enjoy fulfillment and prosperity in all areas of their lives.
My guest today is BreAnna Finco. BreAnna is a passionate advocate for financial independence and personal growth. She is, I'm gonna have to pause, I'm gonna have to edit this part. She's the founder of the Financial Independence Company, and she empowers overwhelmed working moms to achieve financial freedom and personal fulfillment so they can live the life of their dreams. Welcome, BreAnna.
Thank you for having me, BreAnna.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. And so I'm wondering how you came to be on this path of starting this company that helps women with financial independence.
Yeah, that is an excellent question because it's not the path that I thought I had laid out in front of me when I first started. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Texas, okay? Super small town. Like I had 36 people in my senior class. So everybody knew everybody kind of thing, right? And my parents, between my two parents, there were 9 marriages and divorces. So without getting into specifics, let's just say that my childhood was interesting. And I lived with my mom for the most part, had different dads, of course, coming in and out, lots of half siblings, step siblings, and my one and only full-blooded sibling, my sister, 15 months younger, we were just worst enemies. It was like the worst sibling rivalry I think anybody's ever heard of. And between the family stuff and then the school stuff, I was bullied. I didn't have a lot of friends. It was a small town, so like everybody knew I was a nerd. There was no getting away from it. And so that just left an impression on me, you know? So I wanted to get out of Dodge as quickly as I could when I turned 18. So I went to college, a whopping hour and a half away, so it's not like I got far. But I made a lot of bad decisions just in the course of learning life and wanting to make my own decisions. I got myself into some trouble. And so that just, led to a lot of self-discovery, trauma that I didn't even realize was trauma until well after the fact, and ended up finding my husband. It was a one-night stand at Whataburger, as hilarious as that is today. But yeah, I met him in college and we fell in love, and I moved 6 hours, a little bit further away, to Houston, where I started building my life with my husband. And we've been married 15 years now. And so when I got to Houston, I was just doing what I was taught to do: be a good girl, go to a good school, get good grades so you can get a good job, make good money, and then if you're lucky, you get to retire before you die. Like that was my plan. And so in Houston, ended up having my 2 children and found myself in the health insurance industry. I started in college working, like I said, at Whataburger. That's where I met my husband. And I just one job after the next, just kind of went up the rungs on the ladder, right? And I got myself into corporate America. That was through a referral. One of my really good friends, who is actually my boss today, and made a career out of it. Yeah, I started at the bottom in health insurance, got my license, and I learned the business, and I made a really good career out of it. And I've been doing that about 12 years now. So while I'm grateful for the career, it pays me well. I've got great benefits. I've got a retirement. They match my retirement contribution. I've got a pension. I'm not bragging. I recognize the value and the gratitude that I should have for this job, but I did not. I was not fulfilled at all, BreAnna. Like at the worst of it, this was before 2015, 2010 to 2015 phase of my life. I was waking up before the sun rose when my husband and my kids were still sleeping. I would sit in traffic because it was Houston, anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. so that I could then spend another 8 to 12 hours inside of a cubicle, so that by the time I got home, it was dark again, my kids were asleep again, and my cold dinner was just waiting for me in the microwave. And that was a normal day in my life. And it just really started tearing at me. And a lot of other life circumstances happened that just really got me evaluating my life and my life choices. And so going into the pandemic, I didn't have to drive into work to go sit in a cubicle because we weren't allowed to. And so I got really present with the fact that I was like, hey, if I can work from home, maybe home can be wherever. And so my husband and I just started exploring and talking about that. And we wound up during the pandemic in December 2020, we up and moved our family from Houston, Texas to Vermont. Like extreme opposite, right? And that was the intention. We really just wanted to disconnect and hit the proverbial reset. Because aside from me and like my mental capacity that I was at, we weren't happy in Houston. It was just way too many people, way too hot, way too sweaty. It just flooded. We flooded 3 years in a row. And it was just, it became too much. And we were like, we're not happy. So why are we here? So yeah, we just up and moved. Never been here. Didn't know anybody here. No family, no friends. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, but we were just like, why not?
An adventure. I love it.
So we started in Burlington because it's the big city. So like I was very mindful coming from Houston. You've got, I don't even know how many millions of people when you start getting out into the suburbs. It's like 5-6 million at least once you get outside the city. And Vermont is the second most rural state in the country. So I was like, this is going to be an eye-opening experience. Like, I don't want to just jump into a new mortgage. Let's get an apartment. Let's feel it out a little bit. And so that's what we did. We started in an 800 square foot apartment, me, my husband, 2 kids, and we got a dog in the process, an 800 square foot apartment. But what we did is like every single weekend, we would just get out and explore, see all the different towns. We would go hike the trails. I don't know how familiar you are with Vermont, but oh my gosh, it's beautiful, Rihanna, beautiful. And it's autumn, so the trees are starting to change colors.
I love that.
Oh, I know. So I got so absorbed with Mother Nature because back in Houston, it was like the concrete jungle. So we were out on a trail every single weekend. And that's when I really discovered, and I'm kind of embarrassed to think about this now, but I was like, man, I really like hanging out with my kids. I didn't have that before.
Yeah, it's not fun when you're like depleted.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So throughout that whole process, we found the house that I'm sitting in right here in a tiny little village called Bellows Falls in the southern part of the state. And this is my forever home. I mean, it's so perfect. It's so funny. I kind of went back to where I came from. It's a town of like 4,000 people, so it's uber small. But now that I've seen the big city, I'm okay with that. And the hiking trail is exactly 5 minutes out my front door. Then boop, boop, I just walk right up the hill into the woods and I can just disappear and be with myself. And it's beautiful and I love it. So that's how I got here. Once I got here, I started doing a lot of reading and I picked up Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you read that one?
Yeah.
So didn't even know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Because like I said, I was trained to get a job and go to work.
Yeah.
So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I was like, oh, okay. So if I want freedom of time, I have to stop trading my time for money, stop working the job and work for myself. I was like, duh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, so going back to Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was all about buying cash flowing assets. So I started going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole about side hustles that I could create and cash flowing assets that I can buy and what might this business look like. And it eventually took me into real estate investing. Never got into real estate before, had no idea what I was doing, but I wasn't in a really good frame of mind, remember? Like I was kind of desperate. So I was like, oh yes, I can do wholesaling and I can use OPM, which is other people's money, and I can get rich quick and I'm going to fire my boss in a year. Let's go. That was my mission. Like that's what I wanted to do. And man, I was so naive. I did not know what I did. It's really funny looking back. It's really humbling looking back. But that was where my head was, is I needed financial independence. I needed to make my own money so that I could get out of corporate America and live the life of my dreams. And I didn't even know what that meant at the time. So what I did was I got into Airbnb. I was going to do a short-term rental because like my thought process was, and I had help coming to this conclusion, give my credit or my mentor some credit here. BreAnna, I hated my job, like hated my job. And Zach Ullman, my mentor, he was like, so I know that you want to fire your boss, air quotes. But he's like, you have a really good job. You make good money. You've got good credit. Leverage it. And so he was like, instead of just quitting your job, use it, buy a piece of property on the MLS, the open market, turn it into a short-term rental, and then use the cash flow to replace your paycheck. It's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But again, I wasn't in a good place mentally. I made a lot of decisions out of emotion.
Yeah.
And so I made bad decisions and I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. Lost a lot of money, acquired a lot of debt, didn't make as much money as I thought I was going to make, and we had to get out. But luckily, we did a really good job on the fix. So we bought it. It was a ski in, ski out condo here in Vermont. And it hadn't been touched since like 1984 when they built it. And we completely renovated it, redid the whole thing. And it is beautiful. And we had nothing but 5-star reviews the whole time we were live on Airbnb. So we at least had that going in our favor. We listed it with an agent. We got an offer in less than a week, exactly what we asked for in cash, not financing, no inspection, no contingencies. They were just like, yeah, this is what we want. And so it was a clean close, absolutely no problems. And a bonus, the guy that bought it from us, he wanted to use it as an Airbnb too, but he lives out of state. So he didn't have anybody to clean it. He was like, hey, would you guys mind cleaning it for me? I was like, yeah, of course, for a fee. So I got to make some extra money in the process. So that was how I got into real estate. And then that's when I quickly learned, I don't know what I don't know. I need to get some education. I need a team behind me. And that's exactly what I did. I just started working with all of my partners inside of my real estate community that I was in at the time. And I learned how to wholesale, which is basically where you get a piece of property on a contract and then you assign that contract to somebody else. You don't buy it yourself. So you're kind of like that middleman, but it's a great way to help investors that need to sell or even non-investors who need to sell, and then link it with someone who's looking to add to their portfolio. And it's like a win-win, win-win-win, because me in the middle was winning. And so I was able to make a nice little team doing that, had a lot of deals under my belt, a lot of experience, and I was able to rebuild that nest egg that I depleted with the bad decision that I made. And it really opened my eyes to how you can leverage real estate to help people. And like, that's what really got me thinking is I can help people by doing this, because I actually saved a lot of people from foreclosure. They were facing foreclosure and they couldn't sell their house because they didn't have the means to fix it up or to list it or to hire the agent or whatever. And so we could help them and save their credit and help another person in the process on the purchase side. So doing that, that's when my partner Zach and I, he trains me a lot, and I value all of his mentorship and the education he gives me. But he got me to see that yes, you can invest in real estate, but the act of having an Airbnb or wholesaling a property or even a fix and flip, that does not make you a real estate investor. It makes you a business owner, and your product is real estate. And once I was able to once that light bulb turned on, I was like, oh, there's so much more we could do here. And that's what we're doing now. So we are scaling much more broadly than just real estate. And I'm helping Zach build our Learn and Grow Rich community, which is basically like we like to think of it. It's kind of like going back to school, which is funny because it's all hosted on the online school community, but it's kind of like going to school for business. And so we start everybody with creating a vision. And I kind of wish I would have started, but you learn as you go. But we get all of these entrepreneurs, they come in and they're like, oh, I want to make $10,000 a month, or I want to make $100,000 or whatever the number is. And I'm like, man, that's a really lofty goal. That's awesome. Talk to me. What do you want to do with it? And then you just see their face. They're like, oh, I don't know. haven't thought about it.
That's
And
an
I'm like,
important piece right there, right? Because if
yeah,
you don't have a plan for what you're going to do with it, your subconscious is like, that's not safe. It's too risky. I'm not going to let you have it.
exactly. And I guarantee that's what happened with me on that Airbnb. I didn't think I deserved it. I felt like I was an imposter and I was just, making myself
Yeah.
fail, even though I didn't know that's what I was doing.
Oh, we never know that. That's
Yeah.
not like, it's not a conscious thing.
No. But I'm
yeah,
conscious
that's how
now,
it works.
girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, we start with the vision. We want people to create a life that lights them up, is how we say. So we want you to sit down, and we've got a formal process that we walk our students through. But we want you to think about, if money was not an object, like if you had all the money in the world, what would you do with your day? When you wake up and you open your front door, where do you go? What do you do? Who do you spend your time with? That's what we really want to figure out. And then once they have that vision, we can create a business around it. And so then we teach our students how to market themselves. We have FOSSUM, that is our framework: finance, operations, sales, marketing. And so inside of school, we provide master classes. That's the educational component, where students can learn about how to start and scale their business. But then we also provide them with masterminds. So we have different classes every day of the week. So whether you need to, like just earlier before this call, I was with my students in the social media marketing mastermind, helping them put together their strategies. What's their business? What's their offering? And then who's your target customer? How do you find them? How do you connect with them? So we help them put all those pieces together and help them build their business just one block at a time. And then, of course, once they've got some money under their belt, we teach them how to reinvest that wealth into real estate so that they don't have to learn the hard way like some of us did. So that's, the general idea of how we do what we do.
That's beautiful. That's quite a journey.
It really is. And I've got so much further to go, girl.
Oh yeah. And that's the wonderful thing about life, is like, so many people, it's nice to have you here and talking about the failures and the things that happen in the middle, but it wasn't the end of the world. Like, so many times people think, okay, that's risky. Oh my gosh, my credit's going down. Oh my gosh, I'm losing an asset. Oh, it's the end of the world and I won't be able to recover. And the truth is, we can make mistakes and we can recover. And so, like, pursuing the life of our dreams versus sitting in a cubicle feeling like we must be grateful for these things that we don't really care that much about. It's like just programming, that we have to
It is.
deprogram and make different choices from, and be willing to take risks.
And I love that you use that word, programming, because that's where I want to go next. So in the last 2 years, so my mentor, Zach, I mentioned, he referred me to Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you're familiar with him and his work.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I'm in love with that man. His work. I'm in love with his work.
Yeah.
But it has really opened my eyes, BreAnna, into where I came from. So going back to middle of nowhere, Texas, and that place of lack and scarcity and just constantly not knowing what was going to happen next, or who I could trust, or who was going to be there for me. And knowing how those emotions are tied to the vibrational frequencies that then in turn produce our beliefs and our behaviors and the lifestyles that we then tend to live and fall into. And so I have literally only started sharing this since last week. But my vision for my own life is I want to elevate the collective consciousness of Mother Earth. And I want to do it by working with Dr. Joe Dispenza and the United Nations to coordinate international peace prayers that will then facilitate diplomatic peace negotiations.
I love that.
That's what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
And it's every other human being, because through my suffering, I am acutely aware of what it's like to be trapped in those emotions on a lower level of consciousness. And if you don't know what you don't know, you don't even know that you're stuck.
Yeah. You really identify with those emotions, the thoughts, and then the emotions that are created, and then they're a loop, and then they create hormonal you know, feelings in the body and changes in the body, and then they just keep reinforcing each other. And so you think that you're a victim of your circumstances. And you know, often, or what I found actually through Joe Dispenza's work, is that I was simply addicted to cortisol. I was so used to being stressed that I was putting out fires that weren't on fire.
And creating fires, weren't you?
Yes, yes. Solving problems that didn't exist, and then creating. And I had to create them because I didn't know what else to do but to solve them. So
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's so interesting when you finally figure that out. Oh my gosh, it's hard to remember how you were down here like, ugh, life is such a struggle, and oh my God, why am I not grateful? I have it all. You know, on the outside, I look like I'm successful and I'm doing the right things and I got the right career and I have a house and a family and I have a car and I'm supposed to be fulfilled and happy, but I resent my husband. I don't like my kids. I don't want to have sex. I don't want to be here. I feel lonely when I'm with other people. Like I can't connect. And then like you believe that that's the truth and that's all that's available to you. And then you finally get so tired of it that you're like, wait a minute, what's the common denominator here? Oh, it's me.
Yeah. But there's so much power there.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah.
I love the creating of the vision, because so many, like for me, I didn't know what I wanted at that point, because I knew what I was supposed to want, and I knew I didn't want that. And so then having to reconnect with who am I really? And you made it so simple, right? You just, like, when you open your front door in the morning, where are you going? Like, and sometimes reconnect with, like, if you can't even get there, because some people can't, reconnect with what you loved to do when you were a kid. Try exploring that, and like, how can I translate that into something I can experience as an adult? Like,
Yeah.
so that first step is kind of where you start to get hope again when you're kind of hopeless.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful working with people when they're in that phase, because they don't know until they do.
Yeah.
And then once they start putting their own little pieces together, you see their own internal light bulb turn on, and you're just like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And when you're working with your students, would you say that, I mean, I think everybody makes that shift at a different pace, right? But like, what are the things that you see that kind of like push them over the edge to realize, oh my gosh, I do have desires, and oh shit, I don't have to reject them or be ashamed of them. Like, I can accept
Yeah.
that these are my desires and I can pursue them.
I have found it's the open communication. Like, we just talk openly and freely about this in our meetings and our masterminds. It's funny because you get in there and most people just want to get down to business. Oh, I got this deal to review, or I got this question, I need to run these numbers. But then there are some days where we don't talk about any of that. It's just like, hey, what do you like today? Today was the perfect example. We all just shared our dream day, is what we did. And so we went through that exact example. And one of our students, Jody, shared that she ran her own experiment and she took that with her family. And so she got her husband and her two kids, who were like college age, but still, you know, she was like, hey, if money weren't an option, or, you know, if it weren't an object, what would you want to do with your day? And she just got them to start dreaming and exploring. And she was sharing how much fun they all had in that process of just being creative and making stuff up on the fly. And so I would say that's where I see the most breakthroughs, is just in the act of sharing. Because as long as you keep it inside, you know, no one else can see it. No one else knows it exists. But the moment you share it with the world, you suddenly find you're not the only one.
Yeah. And all that kind of shame, like, oh, you know, I'm afraid, I don't want to say it out loud because then I don't want to be held accountable to actually make it real. And also, like, I'm embarrassed. I can't have this. I don't deserve it. When you know, just like a bully, when you turn around and you face it and you address it directly and you speak about it, it just breaks down all of the power that it has over you. And then you
Exactly.
can start putting it into action and actually living it.
And then it's
And
just,
then you
rinse and repeat. You have to make it a habit.
yeah, yes. And then so repetition. So because you will come up against your subconscious fear, like even when you have awareness of them and you've worked through them, like the next level you get to, they'll be there again, like a ceiling again. So it's just a matter of, let's not think that it's all going to be over and fixed and I'll never have to deal with this again. That's a mistake a lot of
It's
us
an
make.
ongoing process.
Yes.
It's funny.
Yeah.
My husband and I, we were just talking last week about this. We compared it to the dishes. That's his task here at the house. And we have 2 kids, and my son is almost a teenager now, so he eats a lot. And so Matt, my husband, he was just like, I just don't understand. It's like, I feel like I'm doing dishes all day long, and I get the whole dishwasher loaded, and I take it out, and there's a whole sink of dirty dishes just waiting to be loaded in the dishwasher.
So true.
And so I think about it like that. It's not a task that you complete and then check off of the list. It's a constant work of progress.
Yes. Yeah. And then when we meet a goal, we usually have a new one. We find out there's more available to me because we are expansive beings. The universe is always expanding, and so are we. And to accept that instead of feeling like, oh, why don't I like my life? Like I have so much. We're so trained to feel guilty and to be like, I think gratitude is used as a weapon, probably especially in religion, like guilt and gratitude are used as weapons.
Yeah.
Gratitude needs to be like, oh, I'm so grateful for this. And I know I'm allowed to want more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more.
Yeah, I can relate to that one. Like, hold on, wait, I'm allowed to be happy? I'm allowed to do something for myself?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just now getting
Especially
comfortable with that.
yeah, when you grow up the way that you did. I mean, that's a lot of different parents to have, parent figures. And as we know, many parents are still operating from their inner child. They're not
Yeah.
not really, nobody's a perfect parent. Even if you're a really good one, you're going to make mistakes, or your child's going to perceive that you don't love them somehow. But that's a lot of stress, and like it causes a person to try to get control. Like, how can I get control of my life?
I am
How
such a
can I
control
feel
freak.
safe? Yeah. Yeah. I grew up, my parents were married but I didn't want them to be married because they had a toxic marriage.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I had 5 older siblings, and it was a blended family. And so there was just a lot of hatred and chaos and fighting.
Yeah. I
There
get
was
that
love
too.
too, but yeah, but you, as a little kid, you're like, how do I control every interaction so that I'm going to be safe? And that habit, when you don't address it, becomes a deeply ingrained lifelong thing that you're washing dishes all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So your next, like, what is your vision for this program?
Honestly, sorry, here's my dog wanting to be pet. My focus right now is what we're calling the partnership program. And so we just launched this literally this week. We're going live. We are taking 5 students only because we want to give them all of our time and attention. We want to see them succeed. So 5 students, and we are going to provide them with the CRM, their customer relationship management system, give them the website, give them all of the automation tools behind the scenes. We're going to help them with their plan, their financial budget, so they know exactly what their numbers are, their marketing strategy, help them put their content together. And we're literally going to help them build their business one step at a time. Now, it's an affiliate partnership program. So the idea is that in helping them, we also help scale and grow the community as well, so that there are more people to work with as we proceed and go through this thing. But that is it in a nutshell. So my focus for probably the next 14 to 15 weeks is going to be making these 5 entrepreneurs as successful as possible.
That's amazing. That sounds super
I'm
exciting.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so great that you understand the subconscious mind, and because you can sign up for a program like that and literally have your coach holding your hand, giving you everything, and you can still sabotage it and not take the action that you need to take and not be successful. So you pay all the money, you have all the support, and then you come out and you're not successful. And it's like, what just happened? Yeah. So it's so important for people to actually work with their emotions, regulating their emotions, do their inner work, reveal the traumas that are there, and, you know, reframe them.
And we encourage a lot of that. A lot of resources for people to turn to, whether it's literature or coaching programs. We also have our own personal development masterminds. So different levels of whether it's personal, couples. I actually created what I call Familypreneur. It's my little baby and I love it. But I host that every Tuesday. We just started last week. So tomorrow is day 2 of my second session, but it's based on the 12-week year by Brian Moran. And the whole idea is that we use that structure, that framework of how to accelerate your goal planning or goal setting and goal accomplishing. And it's all centered around work-life balance, familypreneur, right? How do you balance the entrepreneur life with the family life? And so we've got people that are moving halfway across the country. I planned a family vacation last year. Stacy was doing weekly dates with her husband, who she's been married to for like 30 years. And it's just so beautiful to see people work on themselves and the relationships in their lives.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up as an entrepreneur in just trying to run the business because it's a huge endeavor. It takes a lot, especially if you're a solopreneur. You don't have a team.
Well, that's actually how I created Familypreneur. That's how it all started, because I got into business not quite 3 years ago when I decided to fire my boss. That was in November 2021. And I did that because I didn't have enough time to spend with my family. I was like, I need freedom of time. And so then here I am 2 years later, and I'm like, I have even less time than I did when I started.
Yeah.
How did I do this?
Right. Right.
Well, and then again, through the act of sharing, I took it to what we call the boardroom. So every Monday through Friday, that's our very first call that we have. It's the boardroom. Any question goes. So I was like, hey guys, like I'm struggling. Like I want to, I want to work my business. I want to create this financial independence, but I also still have a full-time job and I'm still a mom and a wife. And I feel like I can't do it all. And I literally started crying on the call. I got really emotional. And I was like, I'm just looking for something like what we have here, but for family support. Like I need a mastermind, people that are going through what I'm going through, and I can just check in with them and like, hey, how do you do this? Or this is what I'm going through. Do you have ideas? And it was just crickets. Nobody knew anything. And so then my friend Stacy, she's also in this group, she called me and she was like, hey, you gave me an idea. She was in a mastermind that was actually specific for the 12-week year. And she was like, why don't we use the structure of the mastermind that I'm in, but we apply it to your work-life family balance idea? And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we launched that over the past summer. This past summer in July is when we did the first one. And so we just went live with the second session. And so I'm going to keep going for a third and a fourth. And as long as there are people there that want help achieving their goals, I'll be there.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. Especially, you know, you kind of get into this mindset of business being the most important thing, and it's got to be number one, and you just aren't allowed to want anything else.
And I think that goes back to that scarcity mindset, or at least for me, because I came from a poor family where, you know, we didn't have money. And so I'm like, I need the money. I need to make the money to get the kind of life that I want to get. And so I just made everything about the money.
Yeah. Yes, I did the same. And and then I made plenty of money, and then I was like, I'm still not feeling very satisfied. What is happening?
You're like, hold on, this isn't the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah, and I still felt like I still didn't have enough money. Like I realized at a certain income level that I was never going to believe that I had enough money. And so it was like, okay, there's inner work to be done here. Like we've got some deeply ingrained beliefs about money and scarcity that are not helpful, not working. Yeah, so that that's a fun journey. And we have, you know, in our society all this messaging about being productive, like when we grow up going to a regular public school, we are trained to become employees. We are not trained to become independent, wealthy people. We are not taught about money at all. Like, I think all they taught was balancing our checkbook.
Yep, that was the one class I had in home ec, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't elective. You're right. You didn't even have to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're not building the majority. Like, we have to go out on our own and learn about money. Either our parents educate us, and the vast majority of parents do not know how to do that, right? They don't.
And that is why I am so excited to work with Zach and Learn and Grow Rich, because that's ultimately his vision. So my vision is collective consciousness, but his vision is creating wealth across the world. And so, like, ultimately, he wants to end human suffering. I mean, I do too. That's the end goal, is to end human suffering. And his theory is, well, I could just make a crap ton of money and I could just donate to everybody and start these charities and create these schools and whatever, but I'm only one person. So instead of me just writing a bunch of checks, what if I teach other people how to create their own wealth and then have them write their checks too?
Yeah.
And so you might want to give back to the school. I might want to give back to the hungry. Somebody might want to give back to the animals, but that's the idea, is that we teach one entrepreneur at a time how to create wealth so that we can make the world a better place.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of people believe that if they get rich, they're somehow taking something from somebody else.
Yes. I thought that for the longest time.
Me too. Yeah. And that's not at all true. And we don't necessarily have to dive into why we think that. There are many messages throughout our lives in all areas that teach us that. It's just the concept of scarcity overall. But like, there's also that belief that I'll become like a corrupted, evil, overly self-indulgent, gluttonous, drunk.
Well, money is the root of all evil, didn't you know?
Right. I'll become my worst nightmare if I have money. And it's like, no, you won't. You'll still be you.
You'll still be you, just with a lot of money.
Yeah. Just a lot more choices and a lot more freedom. So yeah, getting people to like even be aware that they think those things. And so many times if you ask somebody whether they believe that or not, they'd be like, no, I know that it's okay to make money. That's why I want to make money. It's like,
right.
Okay, but you're not. So there's a subconscious thing happening here where
there
is a little voice back there that is telling you that there's something wrong with it. So let's look at it. Let's find it. Let's work with it.
That's the hard part, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, I love your vision and Zach's vision. I think my vision is also to end human suffering. Like, particularly, I work specifically with religious and sexual trauma because I want to end child exploitation and trafficking. Yeah, we've got to talk about these things. We've got to work with these things that are not tasteful, that we don't want to talk about and we don't want to look at. But if we keep hiding it, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah. And like, I keep thinking about the other individuals, like, because for the longest time, when you go back to yourself, you're doing the inner work and the am I worthy kind of conversation, like, I'm not worth it. I'm not supposed to be here. They feel the same thing. Those children who are being trafficked or exploited, for example.
Yeah.
They think, what's wrong with me? That, like, why is this happening? Like, why, what's wrong with me? Exactly. And so if our work can help just one person not feel like that, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, because it spreads out into every interaction that they have with every other person. Like, worthiness breeds worthiness.
Like the butterfly effect.
Yeah. When you're going out and speaking to people and really like making eye contact and active listening and feeling less defensive and more open-hearted, and just knowing that you're worthy of love and they're worthy of love, and you have a different interaction than when you're like, this person's a threat to me.
Yeah.
Like, what do they want from me? And if you're a person who has children and you have a deep sense of worthiness, you can, then it ripples out and the new generation has that. And
that's exactly right. Everything
Definitely.
I do for my kiddos.
Yeah, and it is a multi-generational project. We won't get it all accomplished in this lifetime, but it's
I'm certainly going to
beginning.
try, though.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
But no, you're right, though. It's a legacy that will live on well beyond me.
Yeah, which is amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, where can people find you, find your programs?
Well, BreAnnaFinco.com, my website. That's where you can find everything about me, my programs, the community. If you just want to schedule a call with me, that's probably the best place to get all of the information. And then all the socials. Spend most of my time on Facebook, but I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Amazing. And we'll have all those links in the show notes.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful. And here's to raising human consciousness.
Yes, ma'am. Cheers to that.
Cheers. All right. Have a great day.